Okay, we might as well get started now that we have a quorum. Welcome, Councilperson Gonzalez. Everything okay?
Yes.
Fine. Good.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, well, welcome to the June 17th, 2019 regular City Council meeting. And would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Cochran, absent. Councilmember Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilmember Hamrick.
Here.
Councilmember Jaquez.
Here.
Councilmember Meisner, absent. Councilmember Turner, absent. Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Here.
Mayor Troutman.
Here. We rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Okay, in the back on that table, if you would like to talk to council, we'd ask you to fill out a sheet and bring it to our city clerk, Cindy. And if it is something that's on the agenda, we will hold that until we get to that portion of the agenda. So, again, if you'd just like to address city council, we'd like to have your name filled out in the sheet, bring it to Cindy, and you can talk. Are there any announcements of city council? I guess the big thing is we're going to go to the Colorado Municipal League meeting. Some of us are going up tomorrow, and it lasts through the week. I call that the mayor's meeting because that's probably the only time I'm really important. No. It's interesting. How many are going to go? Okay. So we're going to go up tomorrow and come back Friday. Anything else? All right, let's move on. Then I would ask for the, I have a proclamation. This is the fun part because we have a proclamation officially naming our white deer here in Canyon City. And we've asked him to attend, and he is not attending. So, it's a proclamation officially naming our white deer the name of Tildy, which is that tilde on top of the N. Some of you call it a mustache, but it's a tilde. Whereas the citizens of Canyon City have identified and recognized the uniqueness of our local white deer, whereas the city of Canyon City recognizes that white deer are a rare occurrence. Whereas the city of Canyon City recognizes that our community has invested time and effort in giving the white deer a name as unique as its color. Whereas tilde is the name of the character placed over the N in Canyon City and is also unique to our city. Whereas the city of Canyon City recognizes the importance of protecting our local white deer from being harmed or hunted, and in naming the deer also has identified our local white deer as being off limits from any hunting efforts. Now therefore be it resolved by the city of Canyon City to officially bestow the name of Tildy to our local white deer, dated today, 2019, signed by the mayor. So thank you. Is anybody here representing the white deer? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you. That's really good. Have y'all seen the white deer? Quite impressive. It is a male, right?
It is.
Okay. So I'd ask for any review from the city or acting city administrator, Ryan, of the consent agenda items.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and members of council. Item 8A is the approval of minutes for the regular city council meetings for March 4th, the special city council meeting for June 4th and June 6th. B is the approval of the monthly budget summary. C, awards bid number 3819 for asbestos abatement of 110 South First to Acumen Environmental. Item D, awards bid number 4019, demolition of 110 South First Street to Acumen Environmental. Item E, awards bid number 4419. It's 8-inch PVC DR14 water main pipe to Dana Kempner Company. Item F, authorize city administrators to sign professional services contract with Atkins for the stormwater capital improvement design. Item G authorizes the mayor to sign the water service contract for Mosier, that's 1354, 1358 Flora Drive. And item H is to receive and file the list of bills.
Thank you. Are there any additions or corrections from anyone?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the agenda and consent agenda.
Second.
Second, Mr. Jaquez, thank you. Any discussions on that motion? Any questions? Hearing none, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Hamrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Jaquez.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We have moved the administrator's report from the tail end of all our city meetings to right now, because what was happening was we probably weren't paying as much attention as we should have. Acting City Administrator, Mr. Stevens, would you like to give an administrator's report?
Just I want to give an update on some of the things that are going on within the city departments. The police department has received body cameras and is currently working on implementing a body camera program. Those will be up and running by the beginning of July. From the city clerk's standpoint, we're looking to move to action minutes for future minutes for the council agendas. That should save some time for the city clerk and allow her to spend her time on other projects like public hearings for liquor licenses. The water main work along Main Street is just about complete, and then the 2A road work will be starting up here in the next couple of weeks. We have been accepted as an affiliate program to the Colorado Main Street, our affiliate member to the Colorado Main Street program. Our museum has had quite a few programs over the last several weeks. They've been very well attended. If the community hasn't been out to attend one of those programs, I'd highly encourage it. There's a lot of great things going on from a cultural standpoint, both at our museum and our library. And we'll be bringing forward a resolution at the next meeting to add an additional council work session on the second Wednesdays of the month. And then the last thing, just want to remind the public to be safe and be careful around the river. The river's still running high and will be for several weeks. And just want to remind everybody to be careful and be cautious around the river.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Stevens. So, anything else? Then I'd like to move into a public hearing to consider an application for hotel and restaurant license for Alpine Depot Incorporated, DBA Beauregard's Mansion and Carriage House, Mark Greska, applicant. Location is at 12 Riverside Drive. I hereby open the public meeting and ask our acting city administrator for a staff report. Or should that be Cindy? Asking our city clerk. for-
Alpine Depot turned everything in that they were required by the state. They've actually already been cleared by the state. They're just waiting to hear from us. They turned in their petition and all the required paperwork.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank
Ms. Greska. Thank you. Glad you're here. Would you like to make a comment about your facility or tell us about it a little bit?
Sure. So our game plan is to kind of include everything within the metal gated property, excluding the parking lot kind of on the southwest part of the property, I guess. So we do have plans to open the Carriage House as a restaurant, and we want to open kind of the mansion grounds as a special event place, probably mainly for weddings. So hopefully on a daily basis, the Carriage House would just operate as a regular restaurant. We do plan to serve just lunch and dinner, probably not breakfast. And the kitchen facilities in there will kind of prepare the food for the special events that happen on the grounds. We do kind of envision, people just having a good time on the grounds and just being able to kind of wander around the entire property with a drink in hand and enjoy, just the grounds and the atmosphere with a drink. The mansion itself, it is included, but we don't really have any plans to sell it, other than if the wedding party, for example, wanted to stay there overnight. But we don't really have any plans to function as a bed and breakfast type of scenario with the mansion itself. But that's kind of the game plan in a nutshell.
Great. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Any questions of council this
I
time?
have one. Oh, sorry.
Ms. Gonzalez? Do you have a button?
It's not working.
Okay.
Hi there.
Hi.
So Are you going to serve alcohol in the restaurant?
Yes, we will.
Okay, but that alcohol that's served in the restaurant will not be able to leave the establishment to go wander the premises, right?
Well,
Or
that,
will
we
it?
won't, I guess probably within the context of the liquor license, it would be. Everything is under one license within that exterior metal gate,
Okay,
minus the parking lot.
sure,
But just for our daily plans, I mean, we don't want to allow people to do that.
okay,
The only reason we asked to do that is just maybe, I mean, we don't really know how it'll play out, but just maybe the convenience of like a special event, you know, if those bar facilities could be available for a special event, so people could easily access that
Sure.
and then go back to the, you know, to the wedding party.
okay,
So that's kind of how we had asked to set that part up. Yeah, we don't really intend, like, you know, like on a Wednesday, for example, if it's just a regular dining night, we don't plan to open up the grounds to the people that are eating in the carriage house.
okay, good.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions of council?
Well, I have the standard questions that we're supposed to ask.
Would you please do that, Ms. Smith?
Okay, so Mark, are you familiar with the Colorado Liquor Code?
I'm actually Glenn Hayes, though.
Oh, sorry, Glenn.
Yes, I am.
Is there a copy of the liquor code at your establishment?
Yes, there is.
And how many employees do you expect to have?
We estimate probably 25 to 40 between kitchen and, you know, front of house staff.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
How will they be trained in the liquor code?
A few different ways. Number one, we kind of like provide classroom training, you know, just to kind of go over definitely the highlights. Don't serve to minors, don't serve to visibly intoxicated people, no outside beverage allowed on property and so on. So it's through classroom training. We also kind of regularly attend as many employees as possible when the state, you know, does their classes here as well. We do have on-the-job training, you know, with managers that, experienced managers, experienced kind of lead personnel. For special events, though, we do plan to take it to a further step where we just want to kind of have like little debriefings before each special event where, you know, we'll kind of hit the highlights again and just make sure that everybody understands it. We'll document it and just make sure that everybody's really on the correct game plan before we do special events.
Okay, excellent. All right, Glenn, I see that you have submitted a petition in support of your application. And how did you acquire your signatures?
Door to door.
Okay. What efforts, if any, did you make to contact residents and business owners in the immediate vicinity of your proposed establishment to discuss your liquor license application?
Well, yeah, we did go door to door and obtained 120 signatures. I don't have it right in front of me, and I haven't looked at it in about a month, but I mean, it was almost overwhelmingly affirmative. You know, I think we probably had one or two people that, you know, kind of expressed in the negative, but basically just asked, you know, what their thoughts were, if there were a need or desire, you know, for a restaurant and liquor license in the area. And yeah, it was pretty overwhelming.
Okay, so most of your signatures came from sounds like from the neighborhood.
Right, yeah, just from as close as we could to the immediate neighborhood.
Okay, excellent. Are you fully aware that you are responsible for compliance with the Colorado Liquor Code and that any violations of this code may be held against you and/or your establishment and result in suspension or revocation of your liquor license?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Well, thank you. I really congratulate you on your new business enterprise, and
Cool. Well,
we're
thank
really
you.
excited to see the Carriage House open again and that the Robeson Mansion is staying alive and vibrant. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful asset to our community.
Well,
So
so are
thanks
we.
for all
Thank
you
you.
do.
Thank you, Glenn. I think I addressed you as Mark, but
Oh,
Yeah, that's why
That's
I said
okay.
it.
that's why you said, I knew him. I mean, I don't know, it was on my mind, I suppose. Well, the name
no
was
worries
in-
at all.
Yeah,
name was in
that's what's written in
somewhere.
our paperwork.
It was also written in favor.
Well, he's the one that signed the paperwork, Glenn did, so. his name's
Okay, any other
Mark.
questions of council?
Yeah,
Mr. Marquez?
excuse me. Looking at the diagram you have there with the whole premises and everything, and you've indicated with regards to the parking lot not being part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What means are you gonna take if in fact sometimes you're gonna have people allowed to walk from the carriage house down towards the main one to avoid people walking over into that parking lot with alcoholic beverage?
So on the diagram, we are in the process of installing a fence that will match, kind of the existing gate or the existing fence around the property. It is scheduled to be in place by the end of this month. And, we'll clearly mark no alcoholic beverages beyond this point. So it'll be a substantial physical barrier.
Okay, thank you very much.
You bet.
Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the public meeting at this time and ask for a motion and a second.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
I,
ma'am.
Make a motion that we approve the new liquor license application for Alpine Depot.
That should have been her job.
Pardon?
That should have been Ashley's job.
That's good, Dolly's got it.
Well, okay, I don't want to change them, but usually the person that asks the question is the one who makes the motion to accept it, and then someone else seconds it, okay?
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion made and second. Any discussion on that motion? If none, would you call a roll, please?
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Hamrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Jaquez,
Because we're deviating with things we shouldn't do, I'm gonna vote no. Has nothing against you, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
I know,
Well, thank you.
That's not fair to him.
Well,
Thank you.
I told
Glenn?
him, there's no objection to him.
I disagree with that. That was.
Okay, number 11, consideration adoption by title only of Resolution 16, Series 2019, entitled, "A Resolution of the City of Canyon City, Colorado approving the property transfer agreement between the city and Doritos Restaurant LLC." Could we have a report from the acting city administrator?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Greg Dorito is interested in donating the clock tower, just the clock tower and a 5-foot easement around the clock tower to the city. This was originally built as with public donations on Bobby Dorito's land, and I think over time it's been talked about donating it to the city, and I know Councilmember Jaquez was mayor at the time when this discussion started, and would like to see that donation be completed at this time.
Okay, any questions of our administrator?
If I understand right, we already are doing the maintenance on the clock tower, is that correct, and the upkeep?
We would be responsible for the maintenance and the upkeep.
And have we been doing it already, or is this something new that will be?
This will be something new. We have been maintaining some of the electrical costs on the clock tower, so that won't be new, but I believe the clock tower needs to be wound once a week, and that will be something new that we will have to maintain.
Okay. I would just like to give a formal thank you to Greg Dorito, and in honor of his father, Bobby, too, for that donation to our community.
Thank you. Any other questions of council?
I don't have questions, want to make a comment.
Go ahead.
Way back when there first was a downtown Main Street group and everything and all that, the clock tower came into existence way back then. Everybody remembers, they wanted to put it on Fifth Street and shut off the roadway. And that went by the wayside, which was a good thing. And so there was a group of folks that took over the project with Bobby being the head guy running for it. He wanted to get it done and everything. And so we continued to go there, and then that's how the clock tower was moved from the original location on Fifth to where it sits now. And then they sold bricks and everything else. So it's been a long project. And I'm finally glad to see that it's coming to a conclusion. And so I'm glad it's there. I'm glad we're going to go ahead and work to accept it and everything else. And Bobby, if you're up there listening, it's all done.
Thank you, Frank. Any other comments? If none, I would entertain a motion then. Ms. Smith?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a movement that we accept the property transfer agreement and the ratification and consent and release form for Resolution 16.
Second?
Second.
Ms. Gonzalez, thank you. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing and seeing none, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilmember Hamrick? Aye. Councilmember Jaquez?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Aye.
Unanimously carried.
I was wondering why Mr. Lancaster was here and our stormwater lady was here. So we come to your time. Number 12, consideration and adoption by title only of Resolution 18, Series 2019, entitled, "A Resolution of the City of Canyon City, Colorado, approving and revising the Grading, Erosion, and Sediment Control, GSC, Plan Manual as Part 3 to the appendix to the city's standard construction specifications." Mr. Acting Administrator, should we throw this to the experts?
To the city engineer, please.
Let's bounce it back to Mr.
I'm
Either
the
one.
semi-expert.
Semi.
Glenda is the expert.
All right.
So just very much like you adopt our standard construction specifications by resolution, we do the same thing for these permit policies and guidelines for the stormwater portion of, this is actually referred to as an appendix of our standard construction specifications. And this basically is how we do our permitting that's required through our MS4 permit. So we have not done an update of this manual since we created it, so it's long overdue. In fact, in going through this exercise, we realize there's a lot more to do to it still, and so we're looking at probably another update next year just to further simplify it. However, the primary driver behind this update is some of the updated requirements from the state on our MS4 permit. So that was the main reason we went through the exercise this time in adding those things. While we were at it, because it was kind of a fire drill exercise, we did take care of some of the things that we saw that would improve the manual as well, but didn't get big, very deep into that. So I have Glenda here. If there's specific questions, we've provided you with a copy of the red line and then a clean copy as well. And just looking for a resolution to adopt tonight, and then we'll move forward.
Do you have anything to add to that, or?
Adam summarized it very well.
Okay.
This is done to update our requirements for our stormwater discharge permit from the state, include the new requirements, which go into effect July 1st of this year.
Okay. Any questions of council? Mr. Hamrick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So a couple of questions. When the manual was first written, did the state provide us with a, example manual that we followed, that we adopted? Is that the genesis of it?
They did not.
They did not.
But there were some other MS fours that, some Phase 1 communities that had already gone through the exercise. So we had actually used a lot of Douglas counties, because at the time they were kind of the ones that were ahead of the game at the time. And so the point to that is that we also have found since then there's a lot of stuff in there that we didn't need or was very repetitive. And so you can see where we've deleted a lot of the charts that they've had in there and some definitions and those sorts of things, because it's just redundant in all our other references. So we are gradually moving away from the Douglas County model and just creating the Canyon City manual.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Smith?
I guess my question, you talked about, getting rid of a lot of redundancy. Have we gone, because I've noticed there's a lot of specific, you have to do, grading a certain way, and, the plant vegetation has to be to a certain point. Is that still in there somewhere, or have we gone to the other extreme where it's so simple it's too vague?
Our construction specifications refer to the Urban Drainage and Flood Control District in Denver, which is a very widespread criteria manual for the vegetation and the best management practices in that. we felt it was redundant to have all of those in there when we refer people to that manual. And it also, then they update periodically, so then we would, if we had it in our manual, we'd have to go rewrite everything that they update or add things or delete things, and it just seemed more streamlined. We already referred them to that manual and other specifications, so not to have it right in this manual a second time.
Okay,
And it is our intent to have only the minimum requirements.
the
In
minimum.
the manual, yeah. While we could have some more stringent requirements, we're not proposing any of that at this time.
Okay, that's good to know. And who went through all of this paperwork?
I did.
Wow. That was a lot of work.
That was a lot of work.
That's between storms, though, of course.
We've been lucky so far, but
Yeah.
it's not July yet.
Well, yeah, that's true. Any questions of council? Any questions of staff?
Well, I had a question about, has the attorney, have you guys reviewed this document?
I have not. Sorry, I have not. I don't believe Corey has either, no.
I don't think
Okay,
so, no.
That's not something that typically comes to you guys?
No.
Okay. All right. I didn't have anything that jumped out at me, so.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, seeing none, I'd like a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hamrick?
I move that we approve Resolution Number 18, Series 2019, resolution of the City of Canyon City approving and revising the grading, erosion, and sediment control plan manual on first reading.
Okay,
Second.
second, Ms. Smith, thank you. Any discussions of that motion? Hearing none, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Hamrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Hawkes.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith,
Aye.
unanimously carried.
Thank you, Glennon. Adam?
Thank you.
Good
Yes,
job, you
thank you
guys.
for all your work.
Okay, let's move on to number 13. Excuse me. This is second reading, excuse me, and adoption by title only of ordinance number 14, series 2019, entitled, "An Ordinance of the City of Canyon City Appropriating Additional Sums of Money for the City's 2019 Budget." Would you have a report, Mr. Acting Administrator?
There's no changes from the first reading. Just a reminder that this is $80,000 for the trestle project at the Royal Gorge Park, and then $33,930 to reflect the post grant that the police department's receiving.
Okay. Any questions of council?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 14, series of 2019 upon second reading.
Second.
Second, Mr. Hamrick, thank you. Any discussions on that motion? Seeing none, would you call a roll, please?
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Hamrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Hawkes.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith,
Aye.
unanimously carried.
Anyone have any questions or comments? If none,
I
go
do have
ahead.
a quick question.
It's
Referring,
close.
just referring back to the flooding of the river, are we getting updated regularly on how that is looking at the river? And are we kind of past the worry of needing to get sandbags and all that, or is that still in our?
Yeah, I think the water, the CFS is declining at this point, and seems that, we've hit the peak for now.
Okay, thank you.
While you mentioned, I'm glad you did that, Councilman Smith. I had a very nice call from the manager of Walmart, wanting to know she should call in bags for sandbags and sump pumps and stuff. And she had just moved here, and, well, she's been here for a little bit, wanting to know how serious it's going to be and what I thought and whether they should join in and bring, the sandbags would be free, and the sump pumps, of course, wouldn't be. But I thought that was a very nice gesture, and I told her, I hope that we won't have to use that. But kudos to Walmart and the manager out there who offered that. I thought it was great. So I just want to mention that. Anything else? Okay, we're adjourned.